Welcome back to another GBGuns tabletop. Got a very special one for you. This is an AR-10 based firearm that runs 12 gauge. The Genesis Arms Gen-12 Firearm coming up next on GBGuns. Before I get too excited and into this thing, I do want to show you the owner's manual that is included. Nice clear print, gives you the specifications and how to disassemble and break down. Also some advice on ammunition, what it's actually designed for, and how it actually runs. Alright, I've done my due diligence there. Let's take a look at this. So, this is a really cool firearm. A few months back, I want to say almost a year before this video, we covered the Genesis Arms Gen-12 upper that slaps onto your AR-10 lower, and with their magazines turns your AR-10 into a 12 gauge. Very cool system. Now we've got this little guy, which is a firearm. That's right, it's not a shotgun, not a rifle, not a handgun, it's a firearm, and the overall length is long enough that this vertical grip is acceptable. Very cool system, very unique. A whole lot of unique engineering has gone into this that deserves quite a bit of praise and recognition. I'm going to separate the upper from the lower so we can go over those things individually in this limited space that I have for my tabletop videos, and let's get started. As you may have heard at the end of that last clip, even Tacticitty's excited about this thing. So much fun. If you can open another tab, go back and watch our coverage of their full-length shotgun that we slapped onto a double star DB10 lower and just wailed away with. It was really cool. So in short and quick, to explain what this thing is a short recoil operated 12 gauge upper. See the shift in the barrel there? It's recoil operated, not gas operated, that fits onto your AR-10 lowers as long as you have this rounded end here. I wanted to put mine originally on the Stag 10S, but that's got the angle cut. You got to have this rounded cut. Aside from that, the only changes that you need to make are the bolt stop or bolt catch has to change a little bit, slightly different angle, and the magazine release they have a slightly different design for because of their magazines. You swap that out in your existing AR-10 lower and you can put this upper on and still run it as an AR-10 or run it as a 12 gauge. Speaking of magazines, they are proprietary. Before you roll your eyes at that, there's a reason for that. Having a magazine that can support 12 gauge width without the magazine being too wide for the AR-10's lower is an engineering feat in itself. It's not an easy thing to do. In fact, you might notice that this magazine has quite a bit of engineering just in the very top of it. You can see how it kind of gets narrower there, and it's got these tabs here to hold on to the shell and keep it from sliding out of recoil. And loading it is a bit different because of that. You can see our follower here to help give the round some angle, and there's relief here. That's where you line up the rim, push down, get it past these clips that retain, and then bring it back. So it is slightly different. Very cool of them to get this figured out. This is a 5-rounder. They have 8 and they're working on 10 rounders that, from what I understand, should be out summertime, hopefully. We had a prototype one in when we did the full-size version of this. The problem with it was some of the external reinforcement wasn't lining up with the mag well cut that was on the double star 10B. But of course that's completely understandable since the 10B has a pretty wild magazine well from it. If you're curious about that, we've got videos on that too. So this is their own Gen 12 marked, Genesis Arms marked lower. You can see they're in Kellogg, Idaho, which is pretty cool. I enjoy supporting Northwest companies. A lot of people think that as you go west, your gun rights go away. That's kind of true, but there are a few of us out here still fighting the good fight. We've got a nice flared magwell here trigger guard for getting gloved hands in. I bet in Idaho they really appreciate that come wintertime. Also, if you're using this shotgun, then there's a chance that you're out in inclement weather. Trigger is your standard AR trigger. Your takedown pins can be standard AR. Your safety selector, all of that. If you run it on an AR-10, you can run it on the Gen-12. We do have the SB Tactical brace here. Have been warned that depending on how you use the brace, it may not hold up to some of the higher recoil loads. We'll have to experiment with that and see what it runs. As those of you who have followed the channel for any length of time know, we do a what's for dinner test, running a wide variety of loads through to see what the gun will and won't run with. But yeah, otherwise this is just an AR-10 lower in firearm form, which I think is pretty cool because it means, well, we can do some other things with that lower in the future. The upper, which of course is also billet, has a very brilliant monolithic style. You see how far this rail extends to here. That means you've got plenty of room to mount your optic before you're even touching the handguard here. Not like you're going to be doing much long range stuff anyways. We've got plenty of screws holding that onto the barrel nut. Nice M-lock, beefy handguard. A bit of a cap here at the end, and it is threaded. This runs the Saga thread pattern, so anything that fits on those as far as muzzle devices will work on this. However, you do need to keep in mind that adding any weight on the end here is also going to be reciprocating with the barrel. So that might cause some issues for you. You're going to have to experiment. Go with something really lightweight like a setup from Carolina Shooter Supply. We can see our spring-loaded bolt in action. Do have an external charger, which I appreciate. It helps make it quicker and easier to rack and run. It also means, however, that you've got to remove the charging handle to get the bolt out, which I'm about to do. Let me grab a tool and we'll be right back. So standard hex works for getting this threaded out. They do put some Loctite in there smartly to, well, you don't want to lose this thing. And now we can get our bolt carrier out. Very AR styled, as you can see, except it's got spring-loaded head here. Look at all those lugs keeping things locked and secured for you, and dual extractors. Pretty cool setup, all unique to Genesis Arms. And of course you can see it's already dirty. When I went to pick it up at my local favorite gun shop, the gunsmith who works there just had to get his hands on it and wanted to try. I wasn't going to stop him, so I let him put the first rounds through this. He ran some low recoil buck, which is sort of the torture test, if you will, of whether or not a semi-auto is going to run, and it ran without a hiccup, so I'm excited about that. But looks simple, quite a feat of engineering in this thing. We're going to get it out to the range very soon and start running well, our what's for dinner test through it, and maybe see what we can do with slugs. I don't know, it depends. My local range is kind of I don't want to use the F word, but a little fuddy about stuff that is not conventional showing up on there. So running this on the rifle portion of the range for grouping slugs might be tough, but this is going to be a cool piece to play with. I'm thinking this might be a good home defense tool, or really just an anything tool. The Cerakoting on here, and this is all billet aluminum, so it should be plenty rugged and have a good lifespan. If I can get this together while looking through the camera. Might be a little tough. Come on, get in there. There we go. But the ability to swap AR furniture, trigger, all of that, and run it like an AR, but have that 12 gauge power, I think is pretty darn cool. Let me know if there's anything specific you guys would like to see us do with this. I just can't wait to get out and let some rounds fly. With, I gotta say, with that double star lower that we used last time with a very short light trigger, man, we were making shells fly. Very, very cool, very fun, and I think very utilitarian firearm. And it doesn't get much better than 12 gauge because you've got slugs, which are basically giant bullets. Plus you can run buckshot, you can run birdshot. The neat thing with 12 gauge is there's so much capacity that can go into one of these shells that there's all kinds of loads out there. And since this can handle up to 3-inch, that allows even more potential. Really cool piece. I'm very excited about getting out to the range. To the point that, as you might have noticed, my speech hasn't been quite so smooth. That's because I am just stoked. I feel like a kid at Christmas with this thing. So we'll get it out soon. Let us know what you think and what you'd like to see in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you on the range.